right, let's dive deep into Sofia's Metro Line M6. Buckle up, because we're tunneling through Bulgarian news and some Facebook drama too. We're gonna uncover what this new line means for Sofia's future.
Yeah, it really makes you think, doesn't it? Like, Sofia's right in the middle of this huge metro makeover. And this line M6, it's just one piece of the puzzle. Makes you wonder, what's the bigger plan here? What does this tell us about where Sofia's headed in the future?
Totally. And we've got this beast of a machine, this tunnel boring machine. They even given it a name. It's Vitoša. And it's ready to chomp through like 6 kilometers of earth. It even just installed its massive head. Can you believe that? But hold on, this isn't Vitosha's first rodeo, is it?
No, not at all. It's a seasoned pro, you could say.
Yeah. But speaking of digging, this is where things get a little spicy, you could say. Some folks on Facebook are calling this whole Line M6 route totally pointless. They're saying, why bother? We've got bus lines that already go there. Yeah. One comment even called it, get this, the most stupid line, because it goes by a bunch of shopping malls. So yeah, not everyone's thrilled about this project.
Yeah, you're right. Some people definitely see it as a waste. Like, why spend all this money when we've already got buses running in those areas?
Let's start with Station 6. It's near Okresna Bolnica, and it sounds like it's going to be way more than just a stop.
Yeah, it's like they're designing it to be a destination in itself.
Right. I mean, 2 whole underground levels, ticket halls, shops, connections to existing underpasses. And get this, a parking lot for 230 cars. This is not your average metro station, that's for sure.
And what's interesting is this station was designed by the Sfeco Energo project. And it seems to fit into this bigger trend we're seeing with Sofia's metro system. They're trying to make it so easy and so appealing that people will actually choose the metro over their cars.
So they're not just building a metro line, they're trying to create a whole integrated transport system. Okay, I think we've laid some good groundwork here. We've got this ambitious new metro line, big plans to connect Sofia in new ways. But we've also got to be honest, there are concerns, right? Unanswered questions about the route, the impact on the buses, and yeah, the potential downsides we can't ignore.
Exactly. I mean, it's not just about the cool engineering, the shiny new stations. It's about understanding how it all fits into the fabric of the city, how it's going to affect people's lives, and whether it'll actually live up to the hype.
So before we get into the nitty-gritty of the route itself, I'm curious, what stands out to you so far? Like, what are the most important things to think about when we're talking about a project this big?
Well, for me, it's about looking beyond the flashy stuff, beyond the new stations and the fancy tech. It's about asking the tough questions, like who's really benefiting from this? Who might actually be worse off? Is it a sustainable solution for Sofia's transportation problems in the long run? And maybe the biggest question of all, are we getting the most bang for our buck? Are there better ways to spend this money? Those are all great questions. And, Sofianites are really wrestling with them right now.
But all this talk about stations, we can't forget about the tunnels themselves. I mean, Vitoša is impressive, but I imagine it's not just plowing through anything in its way.
Oh, no, you're right to be curious about that. There's some serious engineering going on down there. So Vitoša has this rotating cutting head. It breaks up the soil and rock, but it doesn't just dig a hole and move on. It's actually building the tunnel as it goes. Like it installs these precast concrete segments to line the walls. This keeps everything stable, prevents collapses, and makes that smooth tunnel you mentioned.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like a self-contained underground factory.
And remember, it's not just dirt and rock down there. They've got to work around all those pipes and cables, utilities. It's like a 3-dimensional puzzle.
I can't even imagine doing all of that while life's just going on up above. Those engineers and construction workers, hats off to them. From Vitoša digging away to building a station in the middle of the city, we've even talked about the economic side and the potential downsides. But now I want to shift gears and talk about the people who are actually going to use this line. The everyday Sofianites, we've talked about the nitty-gritty, the money, the potential hiccups along the way. But what about the people, right? The heart of it all. How will Line M6 actually change daily life for the folks living and working in Sofia?
Well, imagine, zipping across town in minutes. No more traffic, no more stress, just arriving relaxed and on time. Think about all that time you'd save, the boost in productivity potentially. It could be a game changer for a lot of people.
It's like giving the whole city a breather, wouldn't you say? Less traffic means cleaner air, less noise. Everyone wins.
Absolutely. And what about the people who depend on public transportation every day? This line could open up so many possibilities for them.
Yeah, they could reach parts of the city that were tough to get to before. It's like expanding their horizons, literally and figuratively.
Right. Think about elderly folks who maybe have trouble on crowded buses or hills. The metro gives them a safe, comfortable, reliable way to get around. They can stay independent, connected to the city.
And for students, easier access to universities, libraries, events. It's about connecting people to opportunities, building a sense of community. But it's not just about individual benefits, is it? What about the bigger picture, the economic ripple effects?
That's a huge factor. These projects often spark economic growth. New businesses popping up around the stations, revitalizing neighborhoods, creating jobs. It brings energy and investment to areas that maybe haven't seen it in a while.
Like planting a seed that grows into a whole ecosystem, right? But let's be real, not everyone benefits equally. We can't ignore that. Some residents might be displaced or face negative impacts from construction or the changes.
That's true, and we have to address those concerns carefully. Making sure the benefits are shared fairly, progress shouldn't hurt vulnerable communities.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Sofia's Metro Line M6, it's clear this is so much bigger than just trains and tunnels. It's a bold statement about where Sofia is headed. A catalyst for growth, a symbol of progress.
It's a story about ambition, about innovation, about people shaping their city's future. And it's a story that's still being written.
We've explored the engineering feats, the economic impact, the social ripple effects, the potential downsides, and even the emotional connection people have to this project.
It's a story with many layers, many perspectives, and definitely many questions left to answer.
But one thing's for sure, Sofia's moving forward, and Line M6 is taking it to new places.
So here's a final thought for our listeners. How do you see Sofia changing over the next decade with Line M6 and other projects? What role will public transport play in shaping the city's identity, its future?
Keep your eyes on Sofia, folks, because this city's transforming before our very eyes. And who knows, maybe we'll be back for another deep dive when Line M6 finally opens in 2027. Until then, happy travels, everyone.